Hi everyone, a very good afternoon, good morning to everyone who's joined today. For those of you who are regular Lead Squared webinar participants, this is a little earlier for you. That's because this is a special webinar for the APAC region, but of course, anyone else is very welcome to join in. We are discussing lead generation campaigns in insurance, something I often forget to do is introduce myself. So I am Shibani Roy, and I send you webinars from time to time, webinar emails rather. This webinar is specifically on lead generation campaigns and other marketing campaigns that you can send out. Some of the things that we'll cover are, of course, how working on an effective marketing strategy, content strategy, what all that goes into it. Some of the things that we'll cover in a little more detail are email, social media, SEO, content, some tips on how to manage leads efficiently, and of course things that you can automate to reduce things like response time. So we will get into the details of all of that. Now I have two panelists with me today. I have Abhishek, who is from the APAC team at Lead Squared. Abhishek, if you'd like to please share a few lines about yourself for the audience to know here.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shabani, and thank you everybody for joining the session today. Really appreciate your time, and I really wish that you are keeping safe at your home. So, everybody, I'm Abhishek, and I head the APAC business for Lead Squared. I drive the sales here, and I consult the customers, help them in their digital transformation journey, and have been doing so in Lead Squared from last 3 years, and worked with the TCS before. So I've over 7 to 8 years of experience in doing this, and always looking forward to help the customers to make sure that they generate enough leads and they have enough deals on their plate to get the revenue going, right? So that's what I do for my current company, and my previous organization I did. Now I would like to quickly ask Mr. Suren Pillai to introduce himself. And Suren, over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Abhishek. So, my name is Suren. I've been in insurance for about, I think, about 7 years now. So, primarily in digital. So, throughout my career, I've been focused on digital acquisition, whether it's acquiring new leads or whether it's driving up e-commerce sales, specific to insurance. So, today, I'll be covering how to run successful lead generation campaigns for insurance. And this, I'll be looking at two perspectives. So the first would be if you're an insurance agent, so how you can go about generating leads for yourself. And secondly, if you're the insurance company and you want to generate leads either for your own in-house telemarketers or for if you're forwarding those leads to your own agents.
Sounds good. Just a quick reminder to all those who've joined today. You can keep your questions coming. Suren will take them up once he finishes presenting. So keep your questions coming. We have Abhishek and Suren here to take care of your marketing and sales related questions. Thanks so much again. Suren, back to you.
Sure. So we can get started.
Right.
Uh, okay. So for today's session, I'll be covering some of the things that you might have heard of before, like email marketing, content marketing, social media marketing, and SEO. So we'll just be going through into some specific use cases for insurance, or specifically how you can generate leads using some of these methods. So the first with email marketing, I'll just cover some of the general best practices. But before that, in order to start with email marketing, you first need to have a reliable base of email addresses that you can send your emails to. So depending on the country where you're from, there might be some regulations regarding sending spam. So this is something to be mindful of. But assuming that you already have a database of email subscribers, there are a few things that we can focus on. So the first would be personalizing the emails and experimenting. So experimenting with things like subject line or the call to action, and yeah, like say making your call to action count and how you can create those emails so that it's attractive to the person who opens up your email. Who opens up your email? Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so in this slide we have the customer journey. So let's say we talk about a particular product, like let's say it's health insurance. So in my experience, I've seen that health insurance leads could take up to 6 months to convert. So it all depends on which stage the customer is in at the time. So for example, understanding at which stage the customer is in the customer journey will be very helpful, so that you can craft the specific emails to target them according to which journey they're on, or rather which stage they're at in the sales funnel. Okay. Okay, so next, with regards to automatic follow-ups, so this is, let's say you get a lead, let's say someone fills up a form on your website and they schedule either a demo or either a callback. So when you automate that, you can take up a lot of the manual labor out of the email marketing process. So essentially, this is where a tool like Lead Squared can come in handy, where you can create the messages once and let the system take care of the rest, depending on how you set up the automation. So we'll go through this a bit later. Okay, so I'll skip this slide. And this is an example of an email address that I received. So this was I received this from a particular agent who is sending me this email so that they can generate more leads, or as well to upsell me. So I believe I had a particular policy with this agent, and this is an email that he sent out to all of his customers to upsell them another plan. So in this case, he's trying to sell me a life savings plan. So the key thing with some of these emails is you have like essentially a kind of a hook to attract the customer. So in this case, he's providing a summary. So like say, if you save $10,000 per year for 15 years, at the end of 15 years, you will receive a lifetime income of about 5.5% of your capital for life. So something like that makes it sound very attractive, which is why someone who receives this email and who reads this email might be interested in contacting the agent. So one of the things that missing here that you should that 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 you should, or rather, one of the things that's missing here is a call to action button. So usually when you send out an EDM, you should include a call to action button so that there is some kind of action that you expect the receiver to take. So usually it's to get them to request a callback, or to indicate some kind of interest in the product. So yeah, so this is another example. And again, when you see like they have, so this is an example where you can use an email marketing solution like Lead Squared, for example, where you can send out an EDM. And one of the things you can that you see right here is there is something enticing, which is, for example, 10% increase in renewal rates, or 35% increase in new lead acquisition. So you do need to have something in the content to entice the reader. And again, there's a link to a full case study there, which I assume will lead to a lead generation form. Okay, so on the next topic of content marketing, so I would argue that this is the most important of all aspects of digital marketing. And especially if you're an insurance agent or an insurance company, you need to have a content strategy in place. So what type of content you can create? So one, of course, is videos where you're explaining maybe about the products, or you're just having a discussion on, or rather you're showing the viewers your expertise in that area, and it's a way for people to follow you as well. So another would be webinars or articles. So I'm a big fan of blog articles and videos, especially for insurance. Now, for ebooks and white papers, this would be good if you are an insurance company, or if you have some relevant information to share. But it's a great way of offering the ebooks or white paper for free in exchange for someone's email address. So that way you get a lead and you get a new subscriber as well. So this is an example of quite a successful insurance agent in Singapore. So if you can see, he has his own YouTube channel, and he has created, or he continues to push out content pretty regularly. So almost like 2 or 3 videos per month. So so in this case, like, he does have some information about COVID, but the idea is that if you look at some of the views, it may not seem like too many views. Like, so you're talking about 50 or 70 views, but if he can get like about, say, 2 or 3 leads per video, that's more than enough to sustain him. Because this is one person who's generating all this content. So this is a very good way of generating leads by creating some of this content, so that people they kind of get familiarized with you, and they kind of understand that you are a thought leader, or you know what you're talking about. And so this agent, I know him personally, and he generates a ton of leads just by making all this content. And and a lot of these videos can be shot with for something like an iPhone or like a smartphone. You can shoot all these videos. Of course, there is a portion where you need to edit and you need to storyboard all these videos. But the idea here is these are very short videos, like about 1 to 2 minutes. And as an insurance agent, if you, if you start something like this, it can automatically generate a lot of leads for you over the long run. So if you look at him, he must have like, I don't know, about 50 or 100 videos by now. And since those videos are always there on his YouTube channel, someone who is new to or is looking for information can visit his YouTube channel and go through all these videos. And they'll be more likely to contact him if they want him to represent them as an insurance agent. So I just wanted to mention that this is very important. This is an example of someone who has very successfully done content marketing or video marketing, and he's like uh, I believe in 2017 or 2018, he was one of the top producers for his company, and he generates leads automatically just with some of his video content. Okay, so webinars, of course, is another way that by engaging your viewers, you can generate leads just like that, as long as you're talking about something that's interesting to them. Okay, so this is an example of articles. So I've seen insurance agents, in addition to video content, this is another type of content where they can create articles on their own website, or they can even post it on Facebook or social media. And just by sharing these articles, if, I mean, for example, let's say that I post it on Facebook and 100 people view it, I'm my even if my conversion rate is 1%, I'll get one lead out of that. And I mean, once you post an article on Facebook, because it stays there, so it will continue to generate leads for you over the long run. But one thing I want to mention is that content marketing takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So a lot of people, when they first start, the most common mistake is they tend to give up too fast. So what happens is I might create 3 blog articles or 3 videos, and then I see that no one's looking at it, so I might give up. And the the difference between people who actually make it in content marketing versus those who don't is that they stick with it and they continue to generate content, and over time they start to get a following, and that's how you can become really successful with content marketing. But one thing to take note is you need to keep cranking out content. So over and over again, you need to crank out, like whether it's articles or videos or blog posts. You just need to make sure that you keep putting out content there. So white papers, okay, so this would be more if I'm an insurance company. So let's say I'm an insurance company and I have some information that perhaps an insurance agent might not have, or like, for example, with regards to claims information. For example, let's say I know uh, that if you're from a certain age group, you're more likely uh, to get into a car accident, or just those kind of claim statistics, anything that someone might find interesting, an insurance company can put it out there. Okay, so when it comes to social media marketing, I personally have seen insurance agents use Facebook. It tends to be the most successful social media platform when it comes to lead generation. Of course, you can use Instagram and LinkedIn, but personally, I've seen the most successful agents tend to use Facebook pretty well. So when it comes to Facebook, there were some changes to the Facebook algorithm a couple of years back. So right now it becomes more difficult to to become successful with the organic postings. So usually you might need to make a post and you might need to boost it. And of course, like earlier we were talking about YouTube as well, which you can consider another social channel. So Facebook and YouTube, I see, are two of the most common platforms where people tend to be successful. So this is an example of an event that you can host on Facebook itself. So again, if you look at this event that happened yesterday, there were 34 people interested. So let's say that like 20 people actually went to that event. And right now, just by this, I have 20 leads. and out of those 20 leads, maybe I'll convert two customers, so I get two new sales. So this what's key here is you notice that when it comes to social or content, it's mostly about the content. You need to have something interesting that people will talk about. So in this case, it's talking about some of the health insurance options that someone might have. So when you conduct such an event and have a group of people who listen to you, now there's a very high chance that some of them will become your leads. Why? It's because you're offering some useful information to them. This is an example of a wealth planner or a financial advisor. He's using Facebook. So this is his Facebook page, and he also has a lot of videos. So the previous guy that I showed you was using YouTube, primarily YouTube. So this guy Royston, he uses Facebook. And so if you visit his Facebook page, what you'll see is you break down like a lot of the questions that someone might have when they're purchasing insurance. You'll break it down easily for you to understand. Now, and the idea is that I go to his page, I look through maybe 4 or 5 of his videos, then I realize that I like him as the way he explains the different products and so on. So then I'm more inclined to reach out to him. So what you see here is using Facebook chat or Facebook Messenger, where you can directly have a lead or someone just contact you. So it's again to do with content. So the starting point is you need to have content. So in this case, he's got 7 videos. You need to keep cranking out all these content so that eventually you have enough content to attract new leads. Okay, and of course, using Facebook ads to generate leads. So the otherwise, everything that I talked about previously was there was no advertising involved. It was more about spending your own time to generate those leads. So in this case, if you look at Facebook leads, or rather Facebook lead ads, so this is all for insurance. So some of it is created by companies, and some of it's created by individuals. So in this case, it's something very simple. Like I just have one banner image. I have like a couple lines of content, and then I post it to Facebook and I boost it. So perhaps I might spend maybe $20 on advertising this, but essentially what I'm trying to get is I'm trying to get someone to click on learn more and either come to my website or a lead generation form. So Facebook has a lead generation form that you can use, or if you have your own website, you can direct people to your own website. But either way, all these 3 ads have the same thing in common. They're trying to get people, they're trying to entice people to come to either the website or to fill out the form to give them their information. So you can find some of some similar examples at this website, propertywealthplanning.sg. Um, but I've seen personally, like companies like say GNN Insurance, which I'm familiar with. Some of them can generate leads for as low as $5 or $6 per lead. So and again, depending on your conversion rate, you would like let's say that you're spending $10 per lead and your conversion rate is about 10%. So in that case, you know that the maximum you can spend to acquire a lead, uh, or rather, if you or rather you need 10 leads to get one customer. So if you're spending $10 per lead, then it's about $100 to get one customer. So then you need to look at how much revenue is being generated per sale. Okay, so next I'll talk a little bit about search engine optimization. So or SEO for short. So when it comes to SEO, it's there's different types. The most common, of course, is with websites. But if you don't have a website, then you could be looking at something like YouTube, the SEO when it comes to YouTube. But I mean, the format is the same. So some of the basics, of course, is uh, the number one priority, of course, is content promotion. But let's say you have a website, Google will look at a couple of things. The main thing is how many links are pointed to your website from other websites. So we call these backlinks. So essentially, Google is trying to figure out who to rank at the number one spot when someone does a search in Google. So there's over 300 factors that are involved with SEO, but some of the biggest one would be content and backlinks. So what Google will tend to do is look at how many other websites are linking back to your website. That's how they know that you are a reliable website. And the next thing will be content promotion. So like I mentioned earlier, whether it's blog articles or any other type of content, video content, you need to make sure that you keep cranking out content, either on a website or on Facebook or on YouTube. Content is the pillar for lead generation over the long term. So I have an example of a client of mine, Westland Insurance. So they are a insurer based in Western Canada, and we had some very successful campaigns for them. So if you look at this, so Langley is a city. It's a city in British Columbia, and if you look at this for like a keyword car insurance Langley, you can, I mean, you can go ahead and try it out by yourself as well. Even right now, like Westland Insurance tends to dominate in the search rankings. For this keyword car insurance Langley, they have the top 2 organic listings. For this keyword of home insurance Langley, they have all 3 spots in the local 3 pack. So a little bit about local 3 pack. So this, if you're a business with a local storefront, for example, like a restaurant, or like a, let's say, a pet store, or like a, let's say, a attorney, like any kind of business where you have a physical storefront and you rely on the storefront traffic to help you with your leads and sales, then this local SEO or local 3 pack that's listed here, will be very important. So for example, in this case, for home insurance Langley, even though there are other competitors around, Google is choosing to show only Western Insurance. So there were a lot of factors that come into this, but one of the important things is, you notice, is they have pretty good Google review ranking. So one of the things we did is we had a lead, or rather a Google review acquisition campaign, where we were asking our customers to leave us 5-star reviews if they enjoyed our service. So once we did this, we noticed that our local SEO tended to increase a lot, and it still remains very strong. So this campaign was run, the local SEO campaign was run maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and the results are still there. Like, we're still reaping the benefits of some of these campaigns that ran before. Okay. So next on to conversion rate optimization tips. So this is just a tip. If you have a lead generation form, how you can improve the conversion rate, or likewise reduce the drop-off rates. So what you might find is a lot of your lead generation forms, if you use Google Analytics, you might be able to tell what is the drop-off rate. So in this case, I can't remember what the exact drop-off rate was, but what we did is we included the reviews. We pulled the reviews via the Google Maps API, and we put it on the forms page. So when someone is at the forms page, they can look at the reviews, and they kind of gives them a little bit more incentive to fill out the forms. Because some of these forms, the conversion rate, or rather the drop-off rate, could be pretty high. You could lose maybe about 70% of the people who land on the forms page might not actually fill out the form. So what we saw is, by adding this review section, it actually reduced drop-off rates by more than 30%. Okay, so again, if we talk about video marketing, so this is not for insurance, but this is someone I tend to follow. So he is a real estate agent. So a lot of things that I mentioned earlier for insurance can also apply to real estate agents. So what he's done is he has his own channel, and he puts out content. So he tends to be a little bit more invested in it. Like some of the content he puts out is a slightly longer form content, about 20 minutes or so. And sometimes he even has interviews with some like some other people. So in this case, he has a Q&A or a interview with someone else. But essentially, what we're talking about again is content. And if you go to his channel and look at some of his early videos, what you'll find is he says it himself that the first year where he was doing it, he did not get much traction. So a lot of people who are successful in content marketing, whether it's video or articles, the thing is they tend to do it for a long time. So in his case, he was doing it for more than a year before he saw some success. But it's the same thing in the sense, like you get people to look at your videos, and out of that group of people, some will contact you, directly because they want you to represent them. Why? Because either they agree with what you're talking about or they understand that you know what you're talking about. They recognize that you're an expert in the field and they will reach out to you directly. Okay, so when it comes to lead management, so let's say we have generated leads. Now we need to manage leads. So this is where you need a lead management system, like Lead Squad, for example. So what Lead Squad can do is, what's very important is can reduce the time. Sorry. Okay, so what it can do is can help you reduce the response time and enhance the prospect experience from lead captured till closure. So what this means is when you get a lead, when someone is interested in your product or service, if you do not reach out to them in a reasonable time, let's say 1 day, for example. Let's say you take 2 or 3 days. By that time, you might already have lost a customer. So this is why you need a tool like say Lead Square that can help you reduce your response time. Okay. So another thing you can do is let's say someone has become a lead and like a tool like Lead Square already is able to identify the person. Now, if you install like a tracking script, what you might be able to do is you might be able to track every interaction that the leads have on your website. So let's say that I got a lead via my email campaign, and now they subscribe uh, to let's say right now they're one of my subscribers, and they submitted a form on my website. Now, they might have submitted a form for home insurance, but what I realized from my tool is that they also visited a life insurance section. So, information like this, what it means is if you can tailor it such that, let's say a lead came to you originally for home insurance, but 1 week later they visited your life insurance page. So one of the things you can do is you can set up marketing automation to send them an email regarding life insurance, for example. Or when you contact them, you can also discuss life insurance, for example. So like some of the commissions might be much higher depending on which product. So in general, like a home insurance product would have a lower commission versus a life insurance product. So in that case, it can help you to identify the more high value customers. And as well, like let's say someone visited uh, the life insurance page today. So today itself, you can contact them because a tool might be able to tell you that they visited that particular page. Right? And of course, letting your team see what is relevant to them. There's a lot of features in marketing automation that you can use. So I think I went through this pretty quickly. Any questions so far?
Yes, Suren, thanks so much. So the first question I have is for organization working on a shoestring budget, what would you recommend to sort of go ahead with first in terms of lead
Sure. So
generation?
okay. So well, it's an easy answer. It'd be content. So whether it's video content or whether it's a blog article, content will be the first place where you should start. The content will help you with the SEO as well. So for example, let's say you start creating a blog. So this will be the most cost-effective way. Um, what you need to do is you need to keep blogging, have a regular like a content calendar, and keep putting out the blog posts out there. But another thing is it's not just about volume; it's also about quality. So you need to ensure that what you're blogging about is useful to the customers. Yep.
All right. Okay, and then I'm moving on to the next question. So, in terms of content, sticking to content marketing, are there any specific websites or authors you would recommend, who produce good content?
Yes. So, well, okay, sure. There's a couple. So one of the people I tend to follow is Neil Patel. He has his own website. I believe it's called neilpatel.com, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one person that you can follow. Other than that, let's see. You can get ideas on what to write about by like looking at some of these people that I mentioned before, like some of the people who are making videos. like Steve Zaretsky. He's very prominent in BC, in British Columbia in Canada. So these are a couple of people that I would look at, but you would need to look at who is doing well in your field. So let's say it's insurance. um, what I would try to look at is I would just go to Google and search for maybe a particular question, or if I have like an idea, like let's say I want to write about travel insurance. So what I could do is I could go to Google and I could search like a question about travel insurance. Like for example, does travel insurance cover pre-existing conditions? Then I will look at the results. I will look at who is there currently, and I will try to learn from them. So it really depends on your own niche, but uh, one thing you can do is you can use Google to find out who is already ranking on top. What are they talking about? What are they blogging about? And then you can think about what you can do. Another thing I want to mention is there is this website, Moz. So they have a SEO tool, but they have a blog that's also very good. It's called Moz blog. So they have this concept called 10x content. So that'll be very useful for you. But to summarize it, the idea is that whoever is ranking number one, or whoever is talking about a particular topic, your goal is to try and be 10 times better than that, 10 times better than what they're putting out. So then you need to try and figure out what are they talking, what are they not talking about that my readers will be interested in, and try to figure out an angle. But that's essentially well, those are some of the places that I would go to when it comes to content.
Thank you. I will second that actually. As a fellow marketer, I have also many a times looked at Neil Patel's content, sort of given him credit in some of my content that I've written, and Moz. Moz definitely is one of my favorite places. Okay, so now I'm moving to the next question, which is on the changing time. So, Suren, obviously now due to the lockdown, let's say events are not going to be as rampant anymore. People aren't going to visit. So, at this time, what do you think would be the best way to move forward for the insurance sector? Is there any one particular channel that people should focus on more, given that a lot of people may not be able to go out and a lot of work will happen from
Yes,
home?
yes. So it's unfortunate, but the people who have already invested in content marketing from say maybe years ago, they are the ones who will benefit the most, because right now they are the ones who will be more prominent, whether it's Facebook or Google or YouTube. When you might search on any of these platforms, they are the ones who are going to show up. So what I would say is that you need to choose a platform, whatever you are most comfortable with. So not everyone is comfortable in front of a camera, which is fine. Then in that case, you can stick to like your own website, maybe creating your own website or guest posting on another website. But if you are comfortable with it, I would suggest you create video content, and you might put it on YouTube or Facebook. And you also have to continuously improve. So let's say you put out content, go through the comments, let's see, even just see what people are talking about, and always look for areas where you can improve. So what to note is the first time you do it, it's not going to be good. In fact, it might be very bad. But what's important is to continue to improve, whether it's making videos or writing articles. That's the most important thing, that you keep cranking out good content.
Absolutely. And I'd like to add to that actually here, since I am working in the same domain really. We've seen webinars are working very well now because obviously people can't go out, so they're tuning in. So any sort of video content or content where you can share your knowledge online is working. Even if you don't want to invest on a webinar tool, that's fine. I know Google Meet is available, which is free. There are certain other tools also. So you should really go for that, because the audience turning up right now to listen to what you have to say is far more. LinkedIn Live is there, so that's also fairly new. I'm exploring another tool called AirMeet. So there are various tools there that you can really use. I am moving on to the next question, which is from ASK. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Otherwise, I think those are initials. So he says, "What is the best lead management? Which is the best lead management tool?"
Um, so I'm cheating a bit here, but I would definitely go with lead squared. But to be in all seriousness, a lot of the lead management tools are more or less the same in terms of functionality. What's important is how you use it. how you set it up. So in my opinion, there's no need to go for a very high-end or expensive tool when something that's like lower in cost can do the exact same thing. And also depends on your use case. So if you are a big organization with thousands of agents, you might need a different tool. But if it's just like by yourself, then you're gonna need a different tool. But I would definitely recommend you check out Lead Square.
Thank you. Abhishek, since you're here, if you'd like to add to that.
I think I kind of agree with what Suren is saying. See, more or less, all lead management system have the basic functionality. It all depends upon what your niche is and what kind of business you are doing, and what is locally available to you, first of all, and which gives you the better support. And most importantly, what your team can use, because any lead management system is only successful if you have the better adaptation of the same, right? So, adaptation, implementation, and support by your partner is very important, and these are the relevant points I think I can add here. And as Suren mentioned, obviously Lead Squad is also there in the market, so you can always give a try to this and to any other CRM or lead management platform which you feel is good for you. Yes.
Great. Thank you. So I think we can wrap up the session now. I don't see any more questions coming in. It was a very short, crisp, and brief session, which is the way I like it actually. So thanks
Yeah.
so much, Suren. If you could share any final tips for the audience, anything that they could really focus on going forward.
Uh, yes. So I mean, the one thing I would say is that, especially in this age where we have this current COVID situation, everything is going to change. So you need to invest in your content, whether it's your own company or whether it's whether you're a insurance agent, a sole insurance agent. Uh, I would recommend that you start it right away and keep continue to put out content. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And thanks so much, Abhishek, as well, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shabani, and thank you everybody for joining. Really appreciate your time. Please take care and stay safe.
Okay.
Well put. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you.